Hey guys, it's Chris you're seeing back from CNH Smallenge again for another informative service video. The video right now deals with like shop aids and shop supplies that you should have in your shop if you're a small engine repair guy like me. Some of the basic stuff that I keep around here for jobs and issues you may run into. The first one here I got is a good pair of gloves. A good pair of gloves like your mechanics gloves right here. They have like 3 or 4 different types of these gloves out. There's some of the cheaper ones like 10 bucks. Other ones are more expensive ones like these ones are about 25 bucks. They have rubber on the outsides that protect your knuckles and stuff like that. And on the insides they have padding on your palms and your hand parts on it. They're all leather sheath and stuff like that. So basically when you're holding something out there, it'll basically keep your palms nice and soft and basically shock resistant to it, and keeps your fingers from getting cut up if you're working on something out there as well. And I'd recommend having at least 1 or 2 pairs of these gloves with you at all times when you're working on stuff that might be sharp or possibly. Let me see what else. If you're working on something like you got a hammer or something else like that too, just have a good pair of gloves with you whenever you're out there with your equipment, because it'll definitely save your hands from getting all cut up or burning up or whatnot out there. And if you're grinding blades, I'd recommend having a pair of welder's gloves for grinding blades, so whenever you're grabbing a hot blade, you don't want your finger to get all burned for that. So that's 2 different types of gloves that I recommend right there to have. The next thing I'd recommend to have, where to put it here, is some of these shop rags. These are the Scott's shop towels. I buy these things by like 4 or 5 at a time. They're the blue shop rags. They're called Scott's towels. Basically, they're strong absorbent, and you got them portable in one box. The box got a handle on the top where you basically pick it up with, and they really do the job. So you can just keep on using new blue rags that are pretty absorbent rather than the old rag you always have from before. These do held up pretty good too. I really like them, and they're quite durable for jobs that you like soaking up gasoline, oil, grease, and stuff like that out there. So I'd recommend these things 2 thumbs up. And the next stuff I got here is, there we go. It's a jump pack. It's a basically it's a jump pack. It basically starts a dead battery. If you have a dead battery on a tractor, riding lawnmower, or something else like that. Basically, what you do is you buy these to like take out in a field. If you're out there and you go to somebody's house and need something picked up or whatnot, and they claim they have a dead battery on the machine, and you think that's the only problem, you can basically take these with you as long as it's charged up. I think you can see that to be charged for 24, 48 hours. So you got to charge them up before you use them on here. And in the front here, you got your terminals on. You get your positive, you get your negative cable. This is the positive, this is the negative. You plug your outlet in here to charge up the battery pack inside this right here. And you can also charge up, I believe, with your I think car, maybe a 2 in here, because I haven't used this maybe more than a couple times. So you can get a charger for your cigarette lighter as well. So basically what you do is you apply this in your outlet. You plug it in for about 24 to 48 hours. Mine, I think it was 24 hours on this one right here. It is a 12-volt power supply basically, and it's made by Jump and Carry. It's the JNC 4000 model right here. So basically what you do is, if you want to test the battery inside here, it has a button, plus it has a analog gauge on here. You just push the button right here for that, and if it goes up to green, you're good to go. And that's something you should have in your vehicle if you're going out to somebody's job and they got a tractor that's quite heavy and you don't know if you're going to be able to lift it up in your truck or your trailer out there for you. Those jump packs retail from about, I think about 150 to 200 some bucks right there for that. Basically, it's a portable battery. You can basically you can put the clamps right on the battery you want to jump on there, and just and go from there. Just crank the thing over. If that don't work, you can use it to jump the battery. You can just bypass the battery and just take the battery terminals off the battery, and just put the battery terminals right, or I should say put the jump pack terminals right on the electric starter, and see if you can crank it over by doing that as well too, to basically bypass the electrical system and go right to the starter to get a tractor started if it hasn't been sitting for maybe a year or two, stuff like that. And the last stuff I got over here is the electrical stuff. I got a couple things here. This isn't everything I have. I got a fluke meter right here. I recommend getting at least a 179 fluke true RMS multimeter for your general use right here. This one has AC voltage, DC voltage. You get your ohms, you get your beep part on here. It basically tells you ohms, AC, DC, milliamps, amps, and stuff like that. And basically, it's an all-around good multimeter for general uses for your diagnostics of switches and lines to try to find shorts and bad cables and anything else like that. And the last thing I got here for electrical systems is my Smart Tack COP tester. It's a TS 5000. Basically what you do is this thing has a pad on here, and you can basically check your ignition systems with this thing right here. Basically what you do is this tip right here goes near your spark plug wire. You put it near maybe about a quarter of an inch from a spark plug wire. You don't put it on a spark plug with itself. You put it on a spark plug wire near the cylinder head on there, and you program it on here. It has your functions. You have your ignition system, engine cycles, and main calibrate function on here. Basically, as your ignition system on one side here, you got a COP, which is coil on plug. You got spark plug wire, which means you put it right in your spark plug wire. You got your COP, so you got two types right there. You can put it on the COP. If you got a COP, that's coil on plug. Most cars and trucks have COPs now, and on the ignition system, I know my Ford truck does. They started doing that, I think, back in 2000, 2001, and all Ford vehicles I know of, my own truck has them on it. So basically what you do is you put that right on top of the COP, just like that on there, and it'll basically tell you what the specific voltages and anything else like that. So you get those two features. You can tell the COP and spark plug wire, and then the next one is the engine cycles. For that, you can put 2 cycle, 4 cycle, so you can cycle between each one, 2 and 4 cycle on here as well. And the next function over here is main function for calibration on here as well. You can move your peak voltage. You got peak voltage, kilovolt, your burn time in milliseconds on here. Plus you have your RPMs. Basically, you can move these all around on here and put one on top of each other. So you can say you want to look at the burn time for how long your spark plug's burning in there. You can put that in the big digital part right here, or you can move it down to peak voltage. You can put your peak voltage down here, or you can put your RPMs down here as well, and you can basically cycle through that whole apparatus right there for that. So that's basically how that works. Plus it has a secondary function to capture which, like, spark plug you're testing at. Like, say you have a two-cylinder Briggs & Stratton or Kohler engine, and you want to see which one's putting out more spark on here. But sometimes if a coil starts failing on you, or it's running kind of crappy on you out there, you might be able to tell by checking out the burn time, the kilovolts of the spark plug output on it. So that can help by doing that right there to see which one might be running crappier than the other one. This thing is mainly meant for, like, automobiles type of engines. Basically, if you've got a 4-cylinder engine, you got 4 individual COP packs on a machine, you can do a baseline test of each one, then write it down on a piece of paper. And if any one of those is outside of, like, any perimeters for the other 3, and it's not averaged up on there, you know one of those COPs may be going bad, or it's possibly failing on you near future for that. So it'll work on your cars, and it'll work on your small engine as well, as long as you have a baseline that you can, like, test it on. If you have a 2-stroke or 2-cylinder engine, you can put it on the one side, like a left bank, and put on the right side, right bank on there, and you take measurements for both sides on it, and you compare them to, and if either side is lower than the other, you may have a discrepancy between each side on there. One coil might be failing, the other one might be okay, or one might be going bad, or they both might be bad, because it all depends on the specific applications plus the ignition module specifications at that time. So it's a good tool to figure out which side may be going bad on your router. And it's like trying to take a spark plug off and just putting the old spark plug tester on there with the little gapper, and you'll basically jump the gapper on it for about maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, whatnot. All you gotta do is just put this thing right on the line. You don't got to do any special tools. You just put it right on the spark plug line and read the meter. Put another spark plug line, read the meter, and just average them both up on there. And if one's higher or lower than the other one, that may be the one with your problem right there for that. So that's basically some of the diagnostic software right there that I use for my stuff here. That's not everything I use. I also got a tester to find out a short. It's made by the same company. This one's made by GTC. It's General Technology Corporation, made in Canada. They're a well-known company for diagnostics and everything else. I also got a short finder, basically the same thing, or the same company that makes this thing. Basically what you do is you hook it up to the battery, and you can go up and down your cables to see where a short may be in your electrical system, whether you have a tractor, a lawnmower, or some kind of riding lawnmower with a short that might be somewhere on the frame, underneath the dash, something like that. Or so it basically helps you narrow down the problems relatively quickly for your machine. And I think the last thing I have here, where's it at? This is probably off the top of the subject, but if you got a deck that's not quite level on here, I recommend getting like a Mason's leveler, or it's a plain leveler like the one I have right here. Basically what you do is you find a flat part where you're working at, and basically you can see which side of your deck is higher or lower than the other side, and basically measure it to see if you can raise or lower the deck on one side. Because some of the biggest complaints that I receive over here is, my deck's not level. Is there something wrong? Can you adjust it? Or some of those decks out there, like MTDs, especially MTDs. MTDs are notorious for having decks that are I basically call them free floating. They don't have any adjustments you can really do to them. Basically, it's free floating underneath, and it's basically hanging on the front pivot point. Because most MTD decks, the cheaper knockoff ones, not the Cub Cadet like 2000 series or 3000 series, they have the MTD Yardman and stuff like that. The $700 to maybe $1,200 tractors out there, the lawn and garden tractor, or just a plain lawn tractor. They have a deck that's basically hanging underneath the frame. You have two pivot parts in the front, and you might have two lifters in the back, and all that deck does is just hang there, where you're cutting the grass, you're going along the yard, and you got bumps in your yard out there, and that deck basically is staying level on it. It doesn't have any wheels on the left hand or right hand side. It doesn't have a roller in the front. It doesn't have a roller in the back as well too. So that's one of the drawbacks of having that type of deck system on there, where if you had a better one like a Cub Cadet I got behind me, this one got wheels on all four sides of it, so basically it'll contour with your yard as well, and it also has a roller in the front of the deck. It's a big roller about that wide, so whenever you're cutting over a humped up hill, it basically rolls over the top of that rather than going along there, and you're going along the hump part, you're going up and you cut the whole top hump right off. So that's one thing that some of those decks have, and that's one of the biggest complaints I receive over here about tractor decks and why they're not cutting right and stuff like that. I tell them, ma'am, sir, your deck's designed to do that, and there's nothing I can do with it. So if that's answers some of your questions about some of those tractor decks out there, that's probably one of the biggest gripes people have with some of the cheaper decks out there. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, comments, whatnot, or if you may want to buy one of these jump packs, we do sell them over here. They run from about $100 to $200 depending on the specific model and the application for them. If you're interested in purchasing one of these things, just leave me a message on my YouTube page here, or if you know my phone number personally, just give me a call here, and I can purchase you. You can come over and purchase one from me for your tractor or car or whatnot. If anybody has any questions, anything else about this, just give me a call back here or simply leave a message on the page, even though I just said that. So if you have any questions about what I talked about here or where you can purchase some of this diagnostic tools I have here, just leave your name and stuff like that, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as humanly possible. I'll see you guys.